What up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're hopping over to the state where John and I hail from, Massachusetts. And technically, I think it's considered the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I knew I was gonna say that in this video because I always wanna say Commonwealth of Massachusetts because it sounds fancy. So I figured I'd let you know that I looked up the difference between Commonwealth and state, and apparently it means absolutely nothing. It's just that when Massachusetts came to be, they wanted to make it so the government was serving its people, and they felt the word Commonwealth better represented that. And there are 3 other states that consider themselves Commonwealth, in case you were wondering: Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. So just a little fact for you. But in this video, we're not doing history, okay? We're doing some cooking. And I am serving up 3 iconic Massachusetts dishes. We are obviously tackling some New England clam chowder in this video. Okay, I was doing a little research today. I saw online that it became the state soup in 2003, but I couldn't find many sources to confirm that, so I might be a liar about it. However, I do know from living there that Massachusetts is known for serving clam chowder. We're also doing some Boston baked beans because duh. And then for the main course, we're gonna be doing a baked cod dish. I really wanted to do lobster rolls in this video because when I think of Massachusetts, I think of lobster rolls. During the summer, you can drive pretty much all over New England and you will find little carts on the side of the road or little shacks that are serving up the most delicious lobster rolls. However, John does not like lobster, and it's quite an investment when you purchase lobster, so I didn't want it to be wasted just on me. So I will save making lobster rolls for some time when I actually socialize with other humans. If you happen to be new here, hi, how are you? How's the family? Thank you so much for clicking on that thumbnail and giving me a chance. On this channel, I do a lot of recipe inspiration, so if you're looking for more dinner ideas, please feel free to check out the rest of my channel, and I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing if you enjoy the vibe while you're here. Without further ado, let's dive into the first recipe. All right, friends, we're gonna do something simple, but something that I have actually never cooked before, despite the fact that I hail from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I have never made Boston baked beans before, so that's what we are making together. And I'm gonna do it in the crock pot because that's just gonna be the easiest way for me. So all we're gonna start by doing is mixing together a little bit of a sauce for this. Okay, so I have molasses going in over here. I have never in my life owned molasses, cooked with molasses. I don't know of any other purpose for molasses, so if anybody does, please let me know. Because now I have like a good additional 8 ounces of the stuff. Now I got 1/4 cup of brown sugar going in there. And then 1/4 cup of ketchup. We got 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard going in. I need salt, pepper, and we're gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. You could also do ground cloves or even ground nutmeg if you wanted to. And then we got onion going in. We got about 1/2 a diced onion and a little bit of minced garlic, probably the equivalent of like 3 cloves. We also need about 4 ounces of bacon. So I chopped up a bunch of bacon for another recipe. I just used my kitchen scissors to chop it up. So I'm just gonna take what I think is probably about 1/3 of that. And I'm gonna mix all of this together. Right, now we got a pound of beans going in. These are navy beans that I had soaked overnight, rinsed them, all of that drama. And then we've got 4 cups of water going in. And we're just gonna stir that up real good. And this is gonna get covered and cooked on low for 8 hours. And if we're not ready to eat it at that point, I'll just kick it back to keep warm. All right, my friends, so now what I'm actually doing, make it easier on myself, I like to prep anything I can when I have a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and take some time to dice up some onion for myself, as well as some celery and the parsley. That way, when I go to cook the other items later, it's literally just a dump and go as much as possible. We're gonna be doing clam chowder in a Dutch oven. So I wanna be able to just dump as much as I can in there. So I'm gonna take the time now to prep the ingredients I can and then come back to it all later. So we're gonna be making a baked cod, and we need some lemon juice for the recipe, and then we also need some lemon slices just for garnish. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut myself 4 slices of lemon, and I'm gonna store that in here for myself for later. And then I'm gonna juice the other half into this little container because we will need the juice of the lemon for later. Beautiful. And then this will be perfect to go clean my sink with. We are getting into the clam chowder now, which is the one that I'm probably the most excited for. My dad is the one that told me this is the best clam chowder recipe there is out there. It is from somebody named Jasper White, I believe. I will have the recipe linked down below. But I just have a Dutch oven that you can see that it's been well loved. It's got the miles traveled marked all over it. We're gonna be starting off with some bacon, and it calls for 4 slices of bacon. I had 10 slices of bacon earlier, and I took some of it for another recipe. I'm guessing this is about 6 slices of bacon, so mine's just gonna have a little bit more, which is fine. I have it on high heat to get it to warm up a little bit, but as soon as I hear the first crackle of a sizzle, it says that you actually want this temperature to be on low. After the bacon cooks, we're gonna use the slotted spoon to take it out, and I have a paper towel lined plate in the back for the bacon to chill out on. I'm gonna be dicing up some red potatoes. So I have these red potatoes that I rinsed, and I'm gonna quarter them for myself for after. So now that we got the bacon all set, we're gonna add in a couple tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna add in 2 onions that I diced earlier. We're gonna add 2 garlic cloves. And it says 2 stalks of celery, so I'm just gonna eyeball that. Looks good. Now we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. And 2 bay leaves are going in. Okay, now it says we're just gonna let this cook until the onions get soft, but are not brown. It says about 10 minutes, which kind of seems like a long time, but we're going to just keep an eye on it. It is on low heat, so I guess that's probably why. All right, so it's been cooking for about 10 minutes, I'd say. And what's cool is some of the brown, whatever this is called, I don't even remember. Pan drippings? Brown stuff, John says, that's what we'll call. It has been picking up off the bottom as I zhuzh it around, so that's exciting. So the next step is to take some canned clams. So I actually randomly have 4 cans of clams. I had purchased 3 for this recipe, and then I had an extra can of a different brand in the pantry, so I figured I'd just get it all used up. I have a little contraption that goes on top of the cans, so I'm just gonna drain that right in there. And then it says to reserve the chopped clams on the side. Those will go in after. Everything is awesome. Okay, so I purchased this Snow's clam juice. However, I was apparently supposed to buy 4 bottles of this, and I only bought 2. So we're doing awesome as always. However, maybe it'll make up for the fact that I have an extra can of clams. You know, I think that kind of worked out. So we're gonna stir this in, and then it says that we are going to bring in the diced potatoes. And it says that you only want the water to just barely cover the potatoes, so you don't need it to be too high above it. And it looks like we have the achieved goal here. Now it says to cover and cook vigorously for about 10 minutes, which I don't know how I can cook it vigorously. I think that's kind of up to the Dutch oven and the stove, but I'm gonna do my part here. I'm gonna put the cover on. We're gonna let it cook for 10 minutes and then see what happens. All right, guys, now that the clam chowder is started, I'm gonna get started on our baked cod. So I need to melt this butter real quick, and we're gonna make the Ritz cracker topping for the cod. Okay, so I have 1/4 cup of butter melted in there, and I have this sleeve of Ritz crackers that I'm gonna crush up. We have the 2 tablespoons of lemon juice that we got ourselves ready earlier. And I got 2 cloves of garlic on in there. I have a little bit of fresh parsley that I'm just gonna toss in, because why not? I like never have that on hand, so might as well use it. I'm going to do some garlic powder, some paprika, some salt. I'm doing some Old Bay seasoning. This is optional. If you don't have this on hand, I don't think it's really gonna make too much of a difference. It's got like celery salt, more paprika in it. It's just like, I feel like I can't eat fish without Old Bay seasoning. And then some black pepper. And then I'm just gonna stir this all together. And I'm gonna go grab our cod. Okay, so now we have the cod fillets out. I'm gonna season these bad boys. We're gonna do some salt, some black pepper. I have some lemon pepper and some Old Bay seasoning. And we're gonna do that on both sides. I'm gonna go wash my phalanges. I preheated my oven to 375 degrees, by the way. And I put the fish fillets, as you can see, on a little wire rack on a baking sheet. But you could put this in a baking dish if you wanted to, or just put some foil down or parchment paper. But I prefer to do it this way because I feel like it cooks everything a lot more evenly. So this is how I cook chicken too. Okay, now we're just gonna take that Ritz cracker mixture and put a little bit on each, which I feel like this is gonna be a little challenging. All right, so this guy is gonna go in the oven, whoops. This guy is going in the oven for about 15 minutes, maybe 20, because these are kind of thicker cod fillets. So we're coming to check back in on this. They were a total liar about the 10-minute thing. I ended up kicking the heat up. Oh, we got some sizzle. I ended up kicking the heat up because the potatoes were not cooking whatsoever. So this has probably been on the stove like 25 minutes with the heat gone up, which they didn't tell you to do. I'm gonna see if they're tender now. Yeah, those are getting tender. Okay, all right, now what it says to do is to mash the cooked potatoes against the side of the pot in order to thicken the chowder. So I'm gonna figure out how to do that. And I'm also gonna go ahead and fish out the bay leaf at this point because I feel like I can, before I forget, because I'm notorious for forgetting that stuff. All right, I think that's pretty good. Pretty sure I got most of the potatoes. I'm gonna kick the heat back down now. I went down to pretty low because I think we're gonna be doing some heavy cream and stuff now. Okay, so it actually says to turn off the heat entirely. So I'm gonna turn off the heat, and it says to let this cook for about 2 minutes to let the potatoes thicken and get the starch out. All right, next up, it has us adding in the clams. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop those bad Larrys in there. And we're also gonna add in the bacon. All right, and now we're adding in 1.5 cups of heavy cream. And then it says to check the seasoning, so I will go ahead and do that. Definitely need some more salt, so I'm gonna go ahead and salt it. And I also like my chowder to be a little on the thicker side, so I'm just gonna add in a little bit of a cornstarch slurry. That's very difficult to say, just to thicken it up a little bit more. So a cornstarch slurry is just some cornstarch mixed in with some water. You definitely don't wanna overdo it with cornstarch though, because it can kind of take away from the flavor of the dish. But this is a super flavorful chowder, so I really don't think it's gonna be a problem at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that sit on the stove for a little while to thicken up while we finish the other items. Okay, so just kidding, I totally forgot one thing. We need to add in some white pepper to this bad boy. It says just to add that to taste. And then I also need some parsley. So I'm gonna stir in some parsley. It says 2 tablespoons of dried parsley. I have fresh parsley. So we're just gonna go like that. Wow, that looks pretty. All right, looks great. All right, so we've got the Boston baked beans looking delish over here, but I do want them to be on the thicker side. So what I'm gonna do is a couple things. I am going to use my immersion blender to blend it a little bit because the beans will thicken it itself without me having to touch the flavor much. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit of a cornstarch slurry to help encourage that sauce thickening up as well. Looks delicious. Okay, and we'll let that cook and thicken up even more. Okay, so I just hit that with a little bit of paprika because I felt like it needed it. And then I'm also gonna do like a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then these are good to go. I'm just gonna taste them one more time, but I'm pretty sure that is the magical ingredient to give this a little bit more depth. It was like right there. So we are gonna get this plated and do a little taste test. Okay, here's how that baked cod came out. Looking beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. All right, we are going to garnish, which I never do, but I feel like it'll make this look extra pretty. We're gonna just sprinkle a little fresh parsley on there. I don't know how the professionals do this. It's fine, everything's fine. Sure, this looks great, sure.
Are you calling yourself an amateur?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely an amateur.
You are definitely not an amateur.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for the photo confidence, but this is looking really amateur hour over here. And then we have some lemon wedges. Beautiful. Friends, we're starting off with something that is not John's favorite. It is, however, Kate's favorite. However, John's been on a journey, and there's a chance he might like it.
There is a chance.
And that is New England clam chowder.
I'm on a culinary journey.
You are. So I'm gonna dip into this bad boy.
I mean, it has potatoes, so I have hope.
You like chowder. If he doesn't like it, I might consider divorce. To be honest.
That's rude.
I'm just joking about the divorce thing. This is a safe place, John. Oh yeah, 2-bite minimum. Oh yeah, get some potato. I gotta do another bite. For science, of course. Your friend's gotta know, John. Don't make me wait any longer. I need to know.
What do you want to hear?
I want to hear the truth. We speak the truth here, so if you don't love it...
That is fantastic.
Yes, I finally did it. I finally did it. This means I'll be able to make clam chowder in this house. I knew it. I knew I was gonna be able to get you, man. I knew it. I just knew it. I can't even remember the last time I tried to get you to try clam chowder. I can't remember.
I don't know, but that was really good.
It's so good.
It is like, it is fantastic. It's
like flavorful, but not too much.
It's not too much, and it's not like clammy.
No.
At all.
No.
And I feel like that's where I always was like,
I wonder.
Clammy.
Yeah, you don't like the over. I wonder if it was serendipitous that I only ordered 2 clam juices. So it was supposed to be 4 clam juices, 8 ounces each, and I only ordered 2. However, I had an extra can of clams. So essentially, I just knocked off, I'd say, like 1 clam juice.
Okay.
Because you like clams themselves. Like, you like fried clams.
Yeah.
But you don't like the overall taste of clams, right?
I don't like the sliminess of a clam.
These are, like, super minced clams. So I think with, like, the bacon, it's like you don't know if you're getting bacon or clam. You know what I mean? It's like dealer's choice.
The whole thing just... It all complements each other.
It's so flavorful, so good. I think the cornstarch slurry that I added at the end is essential because I think the thickness of the chowder really came out good. So
I will say, of all the clam chowders I've ever had in my life, this is the best.
This is the best one. I'm not kidding you guys. This is probably one of my favorite clam chowders I've ever had. And I'm not taking credit for it because it's not my recipe. This is Jasper White's recipe. My dad has been making it forever. I'm going 9.5.
I'm going 8.5.
8. That is like, seriously.
It's like really good.
John of 15 years ago would have given that a 2, or he would have spit it out and called it a -17. I am not kidding.
15. Try like 5.
Yeah, maybe even 5 years ago. Yeah, you're right. I was trying to give you a little bit of... Okay, next I think we should try the fish, or do you want to do baked beans?
Baked beans.
Baked beans,
Let's
okay.
do the baked beans. I am so shocked.
I'm shocked. Well, I mean, part of me was confident in the recipe. Part of me was confident in knowing your taste buds have changed. But there was a part of me that was scared.
Did I have a good poker face?
You did. I was not sure where we were going. I was not sure. It could have gone either direction. So Boston baked beans is not something that I'm like reaching for at any time, but I felt like it was required to make in this. I mean, it smells like heaven, so.
Does it actually stem from Boston?
I have no idea.
Or is it just like...
I guess.
Okay.
Imagine if it's actually from like Mississippi. Someone went on vacation in Boston and then they just stole the recipe from them. And we're like, we're calling it Boston baked beans. But it was really from Mississippi.
We just went on a journey.
We just did. She just made stuff up.
Is it very hot?
Thoughts, Sean?
I'm here for some Boston baked beans.
It's awful. That's awful.
I know. How am I from?
And you're the one who was actually from the Boston area originally. Listen, I'm not from the Boston area originally.
I haven't lived there, or we haven't lived there. And how long?
Almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
21 years.
So, listen.
Which seems illegal because I'm not even 20. So
What's
how is
crazy
it
about
possible?
that is I've lived outside of Boston longer than I lived in Boston.
That is true.
So.
And have I officially lived outside of Massachusetts longer than I lived in Massachusetts?
Yes.
Yep.
If
That's
I
wild.
have, you definitely have.
Yeah, but I thought you
we
meant
lived
like the
together.
Boston area.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, because you lived in the Boston area, then you moved to Southeast Massachusetts.
True.
So that's what I thought you meant, sassy
Oh.
pants. Okay?
Sorry.
Anyways, back to the Boston baked beans before you see divorce go down live and in action. I'm just kidding. The D word's getting used a lot here tonight.
Yeah,
That's a
what's
little
up with
much,
this?
Kate. Relax. Boston baked beans, I think I'm going to go 7.
Yeah, it's nothing to write home about.
No. And I follow, like, what I did was I took like 4 different recipes and kind of went with my instincts. So there's nothing out there that I feel like would make these be the next greatest baked beans.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that stood out to me in a recipe. To me, it's like a barbecue side. You know what I mean? Like, it reminds me of like a really good barbecue side. I'm not discouraging anybody from making it. If you want Boston baked beans, I think these are delicious. But it's just not our usual side that we would go for. So I'm going 7 on that bad boy.
I'm going 7 because I like a barbecue baked bean. I like a barbecue bean.
And I think the other thing too is that these are navy beans. They traditionally use navy beans in Boston baked beans. John and I are used to kidney beans, which are like twice the size.
Yeah.
And I feel like had I gone with kidney beans, even though you're not supposed to, maybe we would like it even better.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying? But overall, I'm going 7 on those. I think they're a great option. And if I was going to like a barbecue and I wanted to mix it up and bring a side dish, this would be a great one. And cooking it in the crock pot was like a win because they just cook low and slow all day long. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the baked cod.
It's the final countdown.
It's the final recipe. Okay, we have baked cod. This is also not something that I feel like I ate that much. Did I even live in Massachusetts? I do remember one of my friend's moms made this at least once or twice.
Really?
Yeah, and also she made a version of this with scallops instead.
I'm surprised you didn't make like a lobster.
Okay, so I talked about that in the beginning. You weren't here for
sorry.
that part of class. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
You were late, as always. The reason why I didn't do lobster is because of you. You're the problem. And I was going to do lobster rolls. Yes. I was going to do lobster rolls, but John, that's quite an investment. And my level of confidence in you and lobster rolls is not there. Because I can understand, like, some people don't like lobster, and I think that you are, like, confirmed in that camp of people that don't like lobster. I don't think this is a just John used to be picky thing. I think you truly just don't like lobster, which is fine. You know,
I mean, but you could have made it for yourself.
I know, but I'm telling you, it's like $40 to just make lobster rolls. That's wild. If my parents come to visit, my sister comes to visit or something, maybe we will make it again in the future. I should do this for every state. Leave your state down below and tell me what an iconic dish is in your state, because maybe I could do different states.
That's a good idea.
You know, I could definitely do Hawaii. I don't know.
What would you pick?
For Hawaii?
Yeah.
Oh, I would do so many different things. I would first of all make musubi. That's an iconic dish. I don't care.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to put a picture of musubi up on the screen, and you guys are just going to be like, hey, that's what you went with? But I'm telling you, I love musubi.
Like, what would be Montana? Or...
I bet Montana is something with
Ohio.
like elk or like deer or something, like something gamey.
Or Nevada.
Ohio would be the Buckeyes things. Those
Would it
little
though?
peanut butter.
Would it though?
You know those little peanut butter things that's
maybe.
definitely Ohio, John. Oh. What was the next one you said?
Like Nevada or...
Nevada would obviously be
Oklahoma.
would just be cigarettes and liquor. Duh. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I know Las Vegas is not the entire state of Nevada. That's just a joke. Okay, what was the other one you were saying? I want to make guesses. I feel like Oklahoma would be like a really great burger or something. Like, I feel, because they're kind of close to Texas, right? Is my geography good? I don't know.
You want to pull up the kids?
Yeah, I'll get the kids' map out. They know where states are. We ask our children where states are. They're all under the age of 3. And they can point different states out on the map. And I can't even do it. Anyways, let's get back to this. So this is baked cod.
Back to the main event.
She's doing a shimmy shake. Thoughts?
Thoughts are that crumble that's on top?
Heavenly.
Perfect.
As John would say, it's divine.
It's fantastic.
It's funny because it's a Ritz cracker topping, right? And it's mixed with butter and garlic and like seasonings. but it almost tastes cheesy to me.
I was literally gonna ask you if
I
there
don't
was cheese
know.
in there.
Yeah, I don't know how it basically turned Ritz crackers into Cheez-Its. That's what it feels like. The crumb topping is a Cheez-It.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not mad about it at all. I'm happy about it. I think I'm gonna go 8.
I'm going 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
So I made, if you remember, I made the baked cod for Christmas dinner. It was like lemon herb something, and it was like super simple.
Okay.
And you went like crazy for it.
Yeah.
Do you like this better than that?
No.
You liked the other one better.
Yes.
Which is really funny because it's like kind of similar vibes, but this just has like a crumb topping.
Yeah.
The other one though was like coated in butter and garlic, so I wonder if that's why.
It was saucy. Didn't it have like a sauce on it?
It wasn't really a sauce, but it was like the butter and garlic probably
Yeah.
made it more of like not just straight up fish.
Yeah.
I think if I were to make this again, what I would do, here's the thing. Baked cod has a specific mechanism or, procedure, okay? And so I didn't want to get yelled at by New Englanders for not making baked cod the way that most people make it. You see what I'm saying? What I would do though, the crumb topping is phenomenal. I would double the crumb topping and then I would coat the fish in mayonnaise. I know, it sounds crazy, but I would coat it in mayonnaise and then dip the whole thing in the crumb topping and make it kind of like almost like a panko crusted fish. Because when I do panko crusted fish, I dip my fish in mayonnaise, and I know it sounds crazy. Even if you don't like mayonnaise, it does something to both fish and chicken. But dip it in the mayonnaise and then dip it in the Ritz cracker mixture, but I think you would need to double that. And then I think that would be like a 9 for me.
Yeah, I'm going 7.
Okay, overall, I think this was a fantastic experiment, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Although it seems like that's a rule around here. Have to have fun in the kitchen.
If we don't have fun in the kitchen, why be in the kitchen?
Why even be here?
I mean,
why not just order some takeout?
Well, that's also true.
It's also expensive. Don't do that. Okay, well, we're gonna get all this feedback over to corporate. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. It means the absolute world to us. I hope we delivered whatever you needed when you clicked on that thumbnail, and I hope you have a magical day. Bye.